Today we are going to do a healing energy spell, and we are sending it to Maui in just a minute. Hi, I'm Mel from Melsdivination. If you don't know me, I'm the owner and the creator here, and we're in a different setup than we usually do for filming. I'm not able to use my microphone because it's a wired microphone and I need to be able to move freely today. If you watched my last video, I did mention the concept and idea of potentially doing a healing video for the Lahaina, the Maui fires, and I decided we're going to go ahead and do that because I wanted to do it. And you can send your intention whenever you're watching this. It doesn't matter. You can send your intention, send your energy to help strengthen this spell. You can also do one on your own, in your own way. Now, before we really get going, my website is melsdivination.com. All my links are always down below in the description box, and the very first link kind of takes you to almost everything you could possibly need from me. Thank you to all of you that have been subscribing and following. The channel is really starting to grow, and I do appreciate that. If you're not subscribed, check that out because I do live tarot pulls and I don't announce when I'm going to do it. They're pop-ups. So you may want to be subscribed and you may want to have that notification bell on your account turned on. Without any more wasting time, we're going to jump right into this. Okay, so first of all, I have a ton of ingredients. Now, I tried to set the camera up enough that you could see most of it. It's kind of an awkward angle. I am sorry. I wanted to be on camera and you not just see like my chest area. So that's why the angle's a little funky, because it's kind of hard to get it all in one shot without it looking like I'm super far away, at least with the setup that I currently have. So please just bear with me. First of all, I'm going to go over everything that I have here. Then we're going to talk about what I'm doing, and I'm going to do it while we're talking. But I just want to show you everything that I have on hand. Before I get into that, I have types of herbs, I have types of oils, types of crystals. Use what resonates with you. You do not have to go out and run out and buy stuff. I'm using what I have, okay? So I didn't buy any of these things specifically for this spell. This is all materials that I had on hand to begin with, okay? So first and foremost, I have some helpers as far as helping the energy of the spell work, and then I have the actual ingredients for the spell work. So I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Helpers, crystals. I have a raw rose quartz, and then I have a polished rose quartz flame. If you're not familiar with rose quartz, which most people are, comment down below and I can do a special on that one, because I am doing a crystal series now, and if you're interested in my input on it, feel free to check it out. But basically, this is about love and healing. Okay, that's the short version. I also have a clear quartz crystal. Sorry, I didn't hold this up to the camera. So I also have a clear quartz crystal with a point, and that's to magnify the energy. Okay, so those are my helpers that I have. I'm actually just going to put them off to the side for the moment. Then I have a pink Himalayan salt tea light holder. Pink Himalayan salt is very soothing, very healing, so I'm going to be turning that on, lighting the tea light. I have just a basic tea light. Then I have from Art of the Root, and I will give you my code at the end of the video, okay? Because I am now an affiliate. But this is a candle, as you can see, I've already burned it. I've been using it. It's called Sacred Space. So I will be burning this during the spell work to help support that energy. Then I have just a basic tea light candle, plain white. It's on its own, and that is going to be just to protect the energies of this spell work. I have matches. I have something to carve into my blue chime candle. So you want blue, it doesn't have to be blue, it can be white, or maybe you don't need a candle at all, depending on how you're doing it. And then I have just a little plate. I have incense, dragon's blood incense, and I'm going to be cleansing everything with that incense in just a minute. I have like a tea holder for the chime candle. I also have my little handy spoon that I use to scoop out. You don't have to have a spoon, you can just use your hand, it's fine. And then I have 3 oils from Art of the Root. You don't have to use these oils. You could just use a lavender essential oil. You could use a rosemary oil. Use what you have on hand, okay? You could use olive oil. It doesn't have to have a scent or a charge to it. This one is calming oil, blessing oil, and Saint Expedite oil for speediness. So the first thing I'm going to do is cleanse my space, okay? Setting the intention to really bring in good energy, to protect the spell work, to send the vibes that we want to send, which is healing and blessing. We want to bless them and heal them. These people, this place has been through so much. If you don't know what I'm talking about, because actually it's not as on social media as it should be, in my personal opinion. There were some extremely devastating, fast-moving, unexpected wildfires in Maui. The wildfires happened, and they're not all over social media. They are a little bit, but not to the extent it really should be. They're very devastating. I don't know all the statistics because the statistics are constantly changing, but more or less, a wildfire happened in that area of Maui, and it wiped out an entire town very, very quickly because of the type of conditions that were happening. And people were not able to escape because they had no warning, because they had no time. A lot of people not only lost their homes, but died. And they're still sifting through the ashes, the rubble, and slowly finding people. There's a lot that are still missing. I believe the last thing I heard was like 1,000 people. Now, I'm trying not to watch it all the time because I'm very sensitive and it makes me very sad for these people. However, I do try to do like a little check-in just to see what's going on with that. This whole thing that I'm doing, it is a pure spell in the sense of I'm not looking to gain a single thing out of it. I'm doing this to give. I don't have the financials in order to send and donate things like that. So this is my way of giving back. That may resonate with you or it may not. I know somebody said something about portals. I don't believe in portals. We can talk about that another time. I've stayed away from talking about that topic because I know it's controversial. You need to do what resonates with you. But more or less, the best way to think of it, the way that I've explained it to people that don't fully understand this kind of working, it's kind of like doing a prayer. For the most part, you're putting energy into sending something healthy, positive, and good to these people. So that's like a prayer to some extent. Now, I had started explaining the oils. The reason why I did blessings and healing is because they've lost so much emotionally, but in the real world material as well. So the mixture of those two energies, I'm hoping will help them benefit. Them meaning the people that live in that space and area. Okay, I'm gonna light my incense. And with this incense, it's dragon's blood, which brings in protection, it brings in love, it brings in help. And I'm using matches. You can use whatever you want. I like to use matches when I'm doing spell work because it's a little bit more natural speaking, okay? So I'm gonna light the incense and then I'm going to cleanse everything and then I'm going to light my little tea lights and candles of that kind. So this is incense that I get from Fred Souls. I've mentioned it before. It's really high quality incense because it is resin incense. So it's on a stick, but it has resin. Sorry, this is my water. I always need my water near me. It's on a stick, but it has resin in it. It's coated in resin, so it actually lasts for a really, really long time. So you may notice sometimes that in my incense tray, I have like a random cap, and that's how you close it off from burning, because this will burn for 4 hours. So I already cleansed the countertop with, I actually washed it with a spray that I have that I use. It's lemongrass and alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and it does bring in protective, cleansing, healthy properties. I am even going to cleanse my crystals because I haven't used them for this purpose before. So this is for, because it's a new purpose, I'm cleansing everything. So I'm cleansing this. I am literally cleansing everything. Because anything that you use for spell work, it holds vibration. All of this holds vibration. The one thing I'm not going to cleanse is this sacred space candle, because it'll remove the energy that's already put into it, and that's kind of a moot point. Like the whole point of that thing is to bring in healthy energy. Okay. The biggest thing that you absolutely want to pay attention to, hold on, the fan is blowing. Can you guys see this? No, you really can't. There we go. I have a fan blowing because it's hot outside. The biggest thing that you want to make sure you're doing is you cleanse your tools with that are going to come in contact with your candle. The candle, and then the tools that'll come in contact. So that's the candle, that's the holder. And just this last tea light. Okay. Thank you, thank you. So we're going to just let this go. I'm probably going to move it out of the way so it doesn't blow in my face. Okay. And you guys can't see it. Oh well, that's okay. It's right off camera. You can see a little bit of the smoke. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to light the rest of my candles that I have to support the spell work, my helper candles. And I'm kind of putting a grid, you can't see it, but I'm putting a grid of the crystals. The clear quartz is in between the two rose quartz. So I am just going to light each candle and put them out of the way so that they don't blow out, because they will with this fan going. Okay, so now that I have my helpers going, every little one is lit. I'm going to put this one over here. And then I also have a piece of ginger, but I'm not going to use that yet. Ginger, it's not a piece of ginger, sorry, it's a candy of ginger. Ginger is very speedy. It speeds up spell work, so that is important. Okay, so the first thing I am going to do is I am going to carve the name of what I want to heal on this. So if you're doing this for a person, you would carve the person's name. If you're doing it for a place, you carve the place. That kind of thing. Where are we sending this energy? Now, there's two different ways you can do this. If you're banishing the illness, or if you're just bringing in healing in general. So we're not banishing an illness because there's not an illness going on. It's more that we are wanting to bring in healing and peace and tranquility and calmness to the people that live in this space. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm actually going to pause this and look up the proper spelling because I didn't do that beforehand. Okay, so I just looked it up and I carved the town's name, which is Lahaina. It's L-A-H-A I-N-A, and so I carved it so the L starts at the tip of the candle and the word goes down. Now I'm going to spin it and I'm going to do the same thing with the word Maui, because Lahaina isn't in its own little world. People are now also living somewhere else in Maui. Now that one I knew how to spell.
Maui is M-A-U. Oh, you guys can, you can see me do it, okay. I.
Okay. There we go. Now, if you're wondering what this is, I've used it in other spell work that you probably have seen me use to carve things. You can use a pen, you can use a wooden stick, you can use an X-Acto knife, you can use whatever works for you. This is a porcupine quill that I picked up in Salem, so I like to use that for my carvings. Now that we've carved it, we're going to anoint the candle with the oil, okay? So you can use, like I said, whatever oil you want. I have paper towels nearby right away. I know for a fact with with experience that oil gets messy fast for me, okay? So I have my little holder ready too. This is a little bit different than the way I normally do candle spell work because I'm not actually going to put the herbs directly on the candle this time. So first of all, we're going to do calming oil, and again, I'm moving it down the candle. Okay. Now you don't have to have a blue candle. You can do a white candle. You also could probably do a green candle. And the reason why I say green is Archangel Raphael is the color of green, and he protects or connects to the color of green, I should say. And he brings in healing as well. So if that's something you're interested in working with, okay? Some of these candles the color does come off on your fingers, so just be mindful of that. So that was the calming oil. Again, all of these oils are from Art of the Root. I'm not doing a commercial for them. It's just I really like their products. If you look, there's so much in this product, right? There's so many herbs and materials and items and flowers, and it's just, in order to make these kinds of oils, you'd have to have a lot of that on hand all the time, and I'm sorry, I don't. I just don't. So it's a lot easier to do it this way. So now I'm doing blessing oil. Please bless the people of Maui. Please bless the people of Lahaina. And then the last one is the Saint Expedite. Now, I'm not big on calling in saints that you don't work with on a regular basis because that's a slippery slope. But the Saint Expedite oil is supposed to, I'm not calling in Saint Expedite, but this is supposed to embody energy that is similar to Saint Expedite so that it speeds up the process, because the people of Maui really need healing, and they need healing and blessing now. Calming and healing. Now, I'm just going to wipe my hands off. It's really not a huge deal. Now, normally, the next step that I do in a traditional candle spell that you probably have seen me do is I roll the candle, the anointed candle, in the herbs. I'm not doing that this time around. What I'm doing is I'm going to put it in the candle holder, and I am going to then write with parchment paper my petition. Now, the reason why the parchment paper is huge, it's nothing spell work related. It's literally just what I had. I do use parchment paper to cook with. You don't have to use parchment paper. You can use plain white paper. You can use brown paper. Brown paper is better than white paper. Parchment paper is better than brown paper. Now, because this is so big, what I'm going to do, I'm sending this to them, right? So I actually want to pull it towards me because I'm calling it in for them. So I'm going to rip off a piece. Now, you can do this however it works for you, but I like to rip the sides of the paper because then it kind of like activates and wakes it up for what we're doing. Like, what are we doing? Oh, okay. Time to work. So that's one of the things. I learned that from somewhere. I think I learned it on YouTube. And I thought, wow, that's it's just such a small thing, but it adds a lot of energy to what you're doing. Okay, so now at this point, I'm going to write an intention, a partition to the candle, to the energy to send to these people. You need to write whatever you feel is appropriate for you. But basically, it's just putting the intent down on paper that these people are going to get what I'm sending them. Okay? So I'm just going to take a minute and do that, and then we'll talk a little bit more.
Nope.
All right, you may have noticed I switched to a Sharpie. So I forgot, on parchment paper, certain pens, like gel pens, do not work very well, and that's what I had, so I ran and grabbed a Sharpie. Doesn't matter the color, black is fine, blue is fine. You may want to stick to a similar theme, okay? I'm just going to read to you what I wrote. You need to write out what is best for you. This candle and spell is for the people of Maui, Lahaina, who have been devastated and affected by the fires. This sends them healing in all ways, along with blessings to provide support and materials to rebuild their lives. So it is. Super simple, doesn't have to be big, but this is very straight and to the point, okay? Now I'm going to fold it towards me because we're bringing it in, and I turn it clockwise, fold it towards me again, and I'm going to do it one more time. And then I'm going to put it on my glass plate, which you can't see. My glass plate. So now I'm going to tell you as I'm doing it why I'm adding each herb and what their intent is. And I'm also going to tell that herb. I'm going to charge that. I will fast forward the charging piece of it because it does take a few seconds for me to actually activate each individual ingredient. I do recommend you do that. You could also put it all in a mortar and pestle and activate it that way. But these are just herbs until you tell them what their purpose is, until you charge them, until you give them something to do to help, okay? So just remember that. So the first thing I grabbed was thyme leaves. These are just basic thyme from Target. It's not anything special. Now, this one actually has a sprinkler, so I can't use my little spoon, but I will be using my little spoon for other things. Thyme brings in healing, and I'm not using a lot. I usually do 3 scoops or 3 sprinkles. That's all I'm doing. So I'm going to do this for every single one of them, but I'll show you the charging process one time in regular time, real time, and then I'll fast forward those parts in the rest of the video, just so you guys know. So what I do when I have this in my hand is I put my other hand over it, and then I internally, I don't verbally say it usually, speak to the thyme, and I tell it that you are helping this spell for healing. You are helping this spell for healing. So I just basically say over and over, thank you for helping. Thank you for bringing in this energy. Thank you for supporting this spell work. Help heal the energy that needs to go. And I just kind of like do it over and over. Anything like that, any kind of little mantra that connects to you is good. And how do I know when it's done? It's not done yet. I can tell. You can feel like a little bit of a tingle. You might not notice it. It depends. Every person is different. I feel a little bit of a tingle, but you could do it until you feel a tingle, like it feels like almost alive. You can do it until you have this intuitive feeling like, okay, that's enough. You need to do what resonates with you. And now it's tingling. Or it might feel warm. This one, it's starting to get warm. And then I'm going to sprinkle it this time around the candle. Thyme around the candle. I'm not rolling the candle in it. Okay. So the next thing we have is nettle. Now this one I am going to use my little spoon, and I'm not taking a lot. I'm not taking heaping spoonfuls. I'm just taking 1, 2, 3. Because remember, we have to put all these ingredients on this plate. And if we put too much from each one, there's not going to be enough space. Okay, so this is the nettle. Nettle, if you don't know, I have actually talked about nettle in other videos. Stinging nettle and nettle. Nettle is really good for your body, for your adrenal glands, for your energy, but it's also very good for allergies and illnesses, for healing those things. Although these people are not ill, they could physically be getting ill, but it's also emotional illness can cause physical illness. So this is to help heal whatever feelings they are having, okay? Next up, this is just a candle container that I cleaned out because I thought it was cool to use for reusing. This has orange peels in it that I dried and chopped myself and then saved. So orange peel, orange, connects to the sun. Sun connects to happiness. We're doing this entire thing to try to bring these people some healing, peace, and happiness. So I thought, what a great herb to add into this. What a great material to add into this. It's not really an herb. To help this process of healing. Next up, we're going to do some roses. Rose petals that I dried myself. These were pink at one point. You can use red. You can use whatever you want. I'm only taking out a couple of them because I'm going to crunch them up. I forgot to mention the rose petals are for love, but also for healing and for gentleness, because it's very hard to go through some of the things these people have gone through, okay? Next, we're going to do lavender. Lavender is for calming, for peace. It's not really a healing ingredient, but it is a peaceful ingredient. I'm only going to do 2 scoops of the lavender because there's a lot of... The lavender is small, so... Okay. Next up is crushed rosemary. You can do fresh rosemary, crushed rosemary. It doesn't matter. This is just what I have on hand. Rosemary is extremely protective, okay? It's not necessarily a healer, but it's a cleanser protector. So I wanted to throw this in here to help protect them going forward, to help protect them from what's going on. This one's also a sprinkle jar, so I'm just gonna do a couple sprinkles. 3 sprinkles. Rosemary is also pretty tiny. We got 3 left. Bee pollen. You're probably like, what the heck are you using bee pollen for? Now, I've used bee pollen in another healing ritual before as well. Bee pollen, I just ate incense. Yeah, it wasn't the bee pollen. Hold on, guys. Why am I water? Bee pollen is traditional medicine, actually, like a long time ago, years. I don't know how long, I can't tell you that part, I'm not sure, but it can actually be used medicinally. How? I'm not entirely sure. Doesn't matter. It has healing properties and it's going towards spell work. Doesn't matter if it's we're not giving it to them medicinally, we're giving to them, actually, let me have my little spoon. And I'm only going to do 1 scoop of this because bee pollen is very expensive. And this is all I have. I had to send family that were in New Orleans on a hunt to find some for me. They were there for a vacation. They're not going back anytime soon, so I have to ration it. If you've never seen bee pollen, it's like little balls. They're like these little, yeah, they're like little balls. I don't really know how else to explain them. Okay, so this last piece is cinnamon. Actually, yeah, I want to save the salt for last. So cinnamon is going to make a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. And I'm not doing a ton. This is all I'm doing of cinnamon. Okay. Because ground cinnamon is powder, so it's different than loose herbs. Cinnamon is for speediness and health and healing, but also it helps with prosperity. It can bring in love, it can bring in wealth. So I'm asking cinnamon to be the power puncher. You may have heard some people that do spell work talk about something like an activator. Certain ingredients are more intense than others, and cinnamon is one of those where it like, if all your ingredients are passive, then things might not work as well or as fast, okay? Okay, now the last thing I'm going to do is sea salt flakes. Now, I wish I had dead sea salt. I don't. I just have regular sea salt flakes, but I am going to sprinkle it around. What does sea salt do? Salt in general protects, okay? So I do have other protection salts as well. Dead sea salt, it tends to be one of the stronger protectors, and sea salt as well. Now, if you don't have sea salt, you literally can use salt from your kitchen cupboard. It doesn't matter, okay? This is just to help protect the working and also protect the people that the working is for. People, before they do spell work, cast a circle. I don't personally connect with that. If you do, feel absolutely free to do that. What I do is I call in my team, my guides, my ancestors, my people that help, and I ask them to help give me the energy that is needed and to protect me from anything that shouldn't be around me. That's part of why we have the sacred space candle, part of why we have just a regular tea light. Some of that is all because of protective measures, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna actually just move this guy over here. Oh, you can't see him. Hold on. All right, there he is. And I have a gin. If you guys have never tried these, they're amazing. They're great for nausea, but they're also great for power activators. They're just a hard candy that's pure ginger. Well, not 100% ginger, because if it was 100% ginger, it wouldn't be in candy form. But any kind of ginger. I just am not a big fan of chewing on a piece of ginger. I've done that before. So now here's where the most work goes in, okay? So now it's time to sit, to really focus. Now that you've built your container here for your spell work, now is where the biggest energy is. Now, you were building in layers of energy the whole time, but once you activate this candle, that is going to really start the process. Now, normally, if this candle wasn't like wobbly, I would just, actually, I might be able to do it with this tea light. Hold on. No. Okay. I would just light it with the candle that I had around me, but I don't. So, we're going to call this in. I'm going to go turn the fan off right now. Okay. I don't have a fan blowing this way, so this movement is just from the airflow. Now, the most important part of this is now. Sitting and really putting your energy into this candle. First of all, use candle safety. Please don't ever leave some kind of candle out that a kid or a pet could knock over that would burn. Keep an eye on it. Keep it within your eyesight. Never just leave while a candle is burning. But it's more than that. Sitting with the candle and picturing the energy coming out of your body into the candle, and that flame is sending it off to Maui. Sending it off to Lahania. I probably just said it wrong. You know what I'm talking about. Sorry, guys. Lahaina, I think maybe. Okay, so I'm gonna sit with this for a few minutes. I'm gonna go fast. I'll fast forward it. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit of a affirmation or like a chant you can say at the very end. I'm not going to record the rest of this candle as it burns down, but the point is to allow it to burn down. Now, you may ask what to do with the spell remains. You can dispose of them however you want because the spell is done. Because it's something that we're calling in, if you're comfortable, you can bury it in your backyard, or you can even just throw it away and thank the materials, thank your guides, thank spirit for helping you with it. Now, the chant that I wrote down that could be used should you resonate with it and choose to. This flame sends healing, peace, and comfort. May all affected by the fires receive the help that they need. Simple, straightforward, to the point. The strongest spells are the simplest. Let me know what you guys thought about this. Light your own candle. You don't have to have a candle all set up like this. You can light a little candle with nothing, just a little tea light, a birthday candle even. I've done spell work with birthday candles with the intention to magnify and amplify the spell work that I've already done, because I am setting that intention that you can piggyback off of it. You can piggyback off of it with good intention only and following the intention I've already set. You can't piggyback off of it to destroy the spell work. I would hope nobody would even want to do that, and if you do, you don't belong on this channel. Because we're literally sending compassion to people that are in need right now. And if you're looking to destroy that, you need to go get yourself some help. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I will see you all in the next video, and have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye.